Welcome Scorpio to your in-depth weekly forecast for week commencing the 1st of April for the Ascendant, the Sun or the Moon. On the screen now I'm showing the event chart for the week. We need to be mindful of your two rulers of Mars and Pluto. Mars begins this week finding a greater presence in your 5th house, which is wonderful because you have Venus here as well, very close to the part of fortune and Neptune as this week begins. So your creative output can be very powerful this week, particularly on Wednesday when Venus meets with Neptune. Now the 5th house can also be about dates and socializing and children, but since Saturn moved into this area a year ago, it may not have been such an easy part of your situation. If there has been gains, you probably really had to apply yourself. So Mars definitely brings some uplift, but as it connects with Saturn at the end of this week, it does remind you that however talented we are, it is all about how much application and perspiration we put in. And because Mercury goes retrograde later on Monday in the most practical part of your situation, the smaller details that are often part of what builds up the big picture are just as essential as any big idea you have. So that's a tip for the next 23 days, that you really will need to be mindful of making sure that everything is quite finitely set up. Now, of course, the 6th house can be about obligations, responsibilities, appointments, pets, connections with aunts and uncles and our jobs, nutrition, general physical health and jobs. And all of them are going to come under a massive astral spotlight from Friday at the end of this week as Venus moves into that area. Your personality powers can be important if you are looking to prize open a new financial or business opportunity. Venus also applies to your modern ruler of Pluto for the first time in over 200 years. If you work from home, something good around that can develop over the next few weeks. But also, Venus in the 6th house just suggests that if you are somebody who likes to provide support services to others, that could be another area that you thrive in. But on the same day, the Sun meets the North Node for the first time since 2006 in the sign of Aries. This is the point of destiny for us all collectively, but for you, it is in that very practical 6th house. With the Sun also reaching towards Chiron, which becomes exact on Monday with the solar eclipse, a big opportunity can fall for you over the next half year. But it will be necessary, I feel, to flex. Because you're a fixed sign, having a degree of routine is something you feel comfortable with. But the 6th house does see you needing to lean into what other people expect from you, but not to the degree that you forget your own needs. So if there is something that you want to change about your exercise routine, where you live, your daily structure or routine, who does the domestic chores, some new approaches to diet and nutrition or cooking, all of these things can be really showcased for you over the next half year. But you don't have to pulverize your passion. And that's really the nub of this week's story, Scorpio, because sometimes when we think about all those practical strands, it can seem a little unsexy. But because your ruler Mars and Venus start this week and are collaborating so powerfully this week with other planets, your ability to express your charisma and personality can work with that more practical energy as well. So that's really, really exciting for you. Just one thing, the moon does square up with Neptune at the start of this week. It's a bit of a soggy energy, that. If you are someone who enjoys a little bit of a flutter, it's just saying, just make sure that you don't go for a flutter that's outside what feels comfortable. It's also possible that someone close to you could ask for some kind of financial assistance. But when Neptune's in the mix with the moon, sometimes what we're told or even what we hear may not be what we're told, if that makes sense, because the mutual combination of those two influences can create somewhat of a fudge and a fog, so it's not always easy to think so clearly. So your natural generosity could be very strong this week on the back of that particular aspect, but someone may need a reminding of your boundaries. And the fact that Uranus and Jupiter are getting ever closer together in your 7th house of relating, which will peak in an alliance with Mars on the 21st of April, that's exciting too. So a week of some big shifts around work, health, diet, pets, organisation, routines, but it doesn't mean to say you can't show your flair, your personality power, or your sex appeal. It's been a real pleasure being with you, Scorpio. I hope you have a great week. If you've yet to do so, please like, comment, share, or subscribe.